21. I would ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live over the Lunenburg Public Access channel on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page, and will be uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube page within 24 hours after the meeting has concluded. For those of you who would like to join the meeting remotely for the purposes of public comment only, you can join the Zoom meeting on your smartphone, your tablet, or your computer using the Zoom application. Tonight's webinar ID is 909-174-0347. If you do not have any of those devices and would still wish to join via phone, you can do so by dialing 888-475-4499. And again, the webinar ID is 909-174-0347. The posted agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. Any public comment this evening from the board?
None.
None.
I will just say I want to thank, 122 people?
Around that.
And all the officials at the special town meeting who joined and who helped us have lively discussions and got through the entire warrant in approximately, I guess, three plus hours. I appreciate your time and your energy and your commitment to civic duty, so thank you for everybody who participated and everybody who made it happen. Any public comment from the public? Seeing none. Any announcements?
No, only that the site visit for Uma Flowers that the board requested was confirmed for next Wednesday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. at their location. And since there will be no deliberation, we don't need to post that. You're just going to visit.
Yep.
That. And there will be the December 4th meeting, Saturday, December 4th at 10 a.m. with the architect for the 30 School Street project. That invitation went out as well to all the stakeholders for that meeting. And the community meeting for that will be December 7th, the following Tuesday, at 7 p.m. with all the stakeholders that were invited.
All right. Have we gotten any responses from any of the stakeholders?
Last I checked with Elaine, no one had responded yet.
Okay. Hopefully they will pick up their mail and respond to it. That's it for announcements?
Yes.
Okay. So, 7:05, a request to post 4 2018 8th grade Super Bowl championship signs. Dan Shaw, Bengals head coach. Is he here?
Dan wasn't here, and I just got a call from him, he asked if I could come down and do that, or if you want to postpone to have him come in a different meeting. I'll give you a general overview.
What would you prefer? Since you're I'm assuming you're
I was one of the assistant coaches on the 2018 Bengals.
so what would you prefer? Would you prefer that we wait for Dan, or would you prefer?
We could do that, why don't we?
Sure.
Let's just do that, because I can do it, but
Okay,
that's fine, I'm gonna wait for Dan.
we'll wait for Dan. All right, thank you for coming and letting us know that.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. My glasses are about to fall apart. Screw is coming out. Okay. 7:15, is that a public hearing? There
There were butters,
let's
I believe,
assume
so we
it
would
is.
wait
Let's
that
assume
for
it
that.
is.
Yep.
Do we need to wait anybody for the, what? let's just go move on. We'll come back to the appointments at 7:15. So let's go to interviews. Resignation of the Principal Assessor Christine Kumar.
Yes, I had previously notified the board when I received Chris's resignation, regretfully, that we received her resignation. So due to personal reasons, she's resigned. So we're in the process of looking at what we're going to do in the interim.
Okay.
But we have posted the position for to permanently fill it.
Okay. You will keep us posted on that?
Yes.
Do you want to do your do you have a town manager report?
Yeah, or do you want to do amend the charge? Is that going to be shorter?
Sure.
Okay.
We can do amend the
Mine
charge
might
of the
take longer.
Stormwater Task Force to add 2 at-large members.
Great. I spoke with the chairman of the Stormwater Task Force today. He's unable to make it this evening, so being a member, I'll speak to this. Right now, the Stormwater Task Force currently has 3 members, 1 from the Select Board, 1 from the Conservation Commission, and 1 from the Planning Board. We'd like to add 2 members for a couple reasons. One, we'd like to see if we can't recruit some at-large members from Lake Shirley area because our lakes in town are outsizedly impacted by the effects of stormwater. And the other is we have had some trouble scheduling meetings due to quorum issues with only 3 members. So adding a couple members will also help with that issue as well.
I don't know what, I can't remember when that committee was formed, but I find it-
2016.
2016.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it hard to believe why we would have done that. And I say we because I was still on the board at that point.
Well, honestly, I don't know if it was changed or we never added members or.
It was reduced over time, yep, down to 3.
Okay, so.
At periods of
Was it
time.
reduced because they were having it hard to have a quorum?
Yes.
So it's
like
funny
there's
that
certain,
the article that reduced it is, the reasoning that reduced it is the same reasoning
Yeah.
that is increasing it.
and that's one thing I would want to point out. If you're increasing to 5, it's going to increase your quorum then requirements to 3.
Well, right now, we can't even get 3, and I think that's a minimum quorum anyway for any.
It would be 2
No,
out of
2.
3.
2?
Two.
Yeah. Well, we just haven't had any.
Well, it should be no less than 5 anyway, and I don't know when it was reduced, but, because, again, 3 is tough, because then if you talk to one person, officially you're not in open meeting law, and you're violating it already, even if you talk to one other member, because there's only 3. So 5 is a terrible number, 3 is a terrible number anyway, so
Yep.
I certainly am in favor of, and this is a select board
Yes.
created board, so we have the authority to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm totally for it.
Great.
I don't know about Mr. Franco.
I agree for all the reasons stated all around. So,
All right, so I would entertain a motion that we amend the charge of the Stormwater Task Force, or at least not the charge, but the membership, to add 2 at-large members to make it a full, so the full board, the full task force would have 5 members.
So moved.
second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none. And so whoever, if you want to let the chair know that we've done that, and I guess that gets 2 more things on your town manager report
Right.
of vacancies
2
now.
more vacancies.
Let's see.
Next item.
Yeah, we can discuss this. I don't know how long the discussion is going to be. So, current business number 2, discussion on whether to hold a special town election for a vacant select board seat. So, with Mr. Marino's move out of town and therefore need to resign from the board, we have a vacancy. Typically, unlike other elected bodies, which would be a joint appointment with the select board and the other elected body, we don't have that luxury with select board members. So the only way to do it is a special election or the next election. So the question becomes, what does the board, what does the board feel we should do? We had the numbers from the town clerk about holding a special election,
Between 5,000 and 6,000, I think
so
it was.
plus between $5,000 and $6,000. to
Sure.
do that. And whether or not it's beneficial to do it, or do we just wait till the May election?
Well, May election is roughly 5.5, 6 months away. Personally, I don't feel it's a good use of the town's money to have a special election when we're only, a little less than 6 months away. I do know other people have expressed, I think, actually Mr. Passios expressed that he thinks it would be wise to use it. So, personally, I don't feel strongly that a special election is warranted.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same, I am of the same position. I just think with the timing and where we are in the year, too, I mean, nothing realistic is going to happen until after the first of the year anyway, and then we're only 4 months away. So, the idea of somebody ramping up and running a campaign, and I don't think it makes a lot of sense at this juncture.
I personally concur with both of those. Excuse me? Yeah, please.
Dave Passios, 56 Whiting Street. As you did mention, I had mentioned at a previous meeting that I thought it was important that the seat be filled. With some of the major issues that I was thinking of at the time being passed over at special town meeting, I don't see it as compelling to need to fill that seat. I would like the town manager or the chair of the Board of Selectmen to advise on the process that is available to the citizenry to force a special election. I'm not saying that it should be done, I'm just saying that they should be aware of their right to require a special election. Thank you.
That process is outlined in the town charter as far as calling a special election.
And I think that, well, let's just, I think you need 200, oh, that's not it. Do we have the latest charter in our,
It's on our website.
yeah, oh, on our website. We don't have it in our,
It's 100 or 200.
yeah, I think it's 200, but, all right, hold on. We will find out the answer for you. Well, let me go there on mine. Because it's not. Oh, okay.
If we go on to the next thing, I can find out.
Okay.
while we're- Okay.
We will find out. So I don't think we're gonna take any action on this. We're
Well,
just gonna, we're not
Right.
going to, nobody here is, we don't need to take a vote, because we don't have to do anything.
Certainly. Well, and I think Mr. Passios raises a good point. I think we can highlight at a future meeting what the procedure is if the townspeople want to force a special election based on the town charter. I think that's fine, because if there was a groundswell of support for that, of course, we'd have one. I mean, yeah.
Yep. So, for those people who are interested, it is by charter, there is a by petition. The town manager is looking up the actual number of signatories of said petition, and then once the signatory is done and given in, then there's a certain amount of time that we are allotted to have the election within. So there's a maximum amount of time, and we'll see what that is. Okay, so that's two. Approval of minutes of October 12th and 19th. Did everybody read through those minutes?
I did. I had no comments.
No comment.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion about approving the minutes of October 12th and October 19th, 2021.
I move to approve the minutes of October 12th and October 19th, 2021 as presented.
Second.
Any further comment? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. And opposed, none. Okay. Now, 7:15, poll petition hearing for new West Townsend Road, proposed new mid-span pole between existing pole number 29 and pole number 30.
Okay. I'm Jim D. with Unitil, and this is John Kimball. And, what's that? With Unitil. Yep, and I'm going to be retiring after 32 years with Unitil.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So he's taken over my position, and he wanted to come and observe the process for the poll hearing. So that's... Yeah, what we have here is we're looking for permission from the town to set a pole in between pole 29 and 30 on New West Townsend Road. It would be directly underneath the existing wires. And it's going to be near a driveway that is being put in for a new house that's going in at 390 New West Townsend Road. They haven't built it yet, but we're getting the, ready for that. And then they'll have a few poles going down their driveway, but we needed to have a pole there because the next pole down, 29, is in front of 380 New West Townsend Road. We can't use that to serve them. And the other pole is too far down the road, so we needed a mid-span pole by their driveway to serve that new house going in at 390 New West Townsend Road.
Sounds reasonable to me. Yeah, anybody have any questions? I mean, this is a pretty
Seems-
straightforward.
Agree, I don't have any questions.
I will note that the DPW director was asked for his, yeah, we see the picture, yeah.
Did you have the picture?
Yep, we have the
Okay.
picture, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
I would, you know me, I
With
would have
the-
I would
yeah,
have
I know.
noted it, right?
Yeah, with the
And thank you
driveway.
for including the driveway.
Yeah, okay.
So the DPW director had no objection to the
Okay.
pole position either, so
Yeah.
I think we're okay to go ahead. I don't know if anybody else who's in present wants to speak to this. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion regarding the request for the new mid-span pole as diagrammed between the existing pole number 29 and pole number 30 on New West Townsend Road.
I move to accept and grant that petition.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. None.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
And congratulations
Thank you.
again.
Thank you very much. Looking forward.
So the top copy, there's two copies here. One, the top is only signed by Lou, and the second copy is signed by the board
And
and Lou.
Oh,
Part of the board.
Flexing my clerk muscles here.
All right.
that's it. You get to sign this one twice, there and there.
There and on the next page, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay. Warrants, let's go through warrants.
Should I fill in the date as well? You want me to fill it in for us?
Yes, please.
So, an accounts payable warrant in the amount of $11,614.82. For those of you keeping score, this is the final payment on the Complete Streets project, which, having walked over here from the Ritter Building tonight, is a beauty, having that sidewalk done and through the town center, door to door. It was very nice.
Tom's supposed to sign this one, too.
Payroll deduction warrant in the amount of $308,003.83.
Oh, yeah.
Payroll warrant in the amount of $897,572.70.
You got some.
Sign this one. Oh.
I have to sign it, too.
We need it back.
Did Todd?
And lastly, an accounts payable warrant in the amount of $827,761.94. Any action items from anyone? No action items?
None.
None, okay. This,
And that's for the next appointment.
okay, oh wow. Okay, we still got some time on that. Committee reports? Mr. Franco, any committee reports?
I have none.
I'll let Mr. Dwyer. Any committee reports?
No committee reports this week.
Okay, the only one I have is that we just met this evening, capital planning, where we heard from the police department and their capital planning going forward for the next 6 or 7 years. And we also heard one more addition from general government, which would be a public records. So it would be a public records request to fund a whole cataloging and ordering and reboxing of public records to facilitate storage and easy finding, et cetera. So both of those were expressed. Next week at the capital planning will be the DPW. That's our last department hearing. And then after that, we will be meeting and prioritizing and determining what the priority of all the requests are for this year. So hopefully, and by, I think we have to by charter, by the end of the year, have it to the town manager, correct?
Beginning in January, yeah.
Beginning of January, so. Is this right of first refusal, a public hearing, or can I take this
You can go ahead.
2 minutes early?
Yep, you can go ahead.
Mr. Bowen, are you here for the right of first refusal? I am. Okay, is there anything you want to present, or are you just here to listen?
I'll just listen if you have any questions.
I can give a synopsis.
Sure.
So this notice of first, right of first refusal was first provided to the board back in April of 2019. And at that point, it was approximately less than 8 acres. That was the part of the notice that has since changed, so it was re-noticed to the town. We went through, according to our procedure, is to notify the different boards, conservation, planning, open space. Everyone was properly notified, and no one has expressed interest in this parcel. So the recommendation would be to not exercise your first right of refusal.
And we did, as you said, it's the same parcel that we've
Yep.
already
No.
acknowledged that we don't want to.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is just so this is the final one? No rewording, no nothing?
I expect if you sign it, we're gonna close tomorrow.
Okay. So I would open up to the board members. You definitely were not part of this because you're newest to the board. I think you were part of it.
I was.
Yeah, so you're familiar with this.
Mhm.
So basically, this is almost like just a rehashing of the same thing. There's nothing changed. The property itself hasn't changed. It was just a wording change that caused us to go through this.
The only thing that changed is there are 2 additional acres of land beyond what you considered the last time, which is really why we had to come back.
Yep.
Right, and they're adjacent to the.
Yeah, they're just a little
Enlarge the
larger.
area. Okay.
They needed the area to get the 5 lots in.
Yep.
We thought it substantive that it had to be re-noticed
Right.
versus.
No, I mean, I understand that. It just, so it's not identical. It's identical plus 2 acres.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any questions. I'm fine with it still.
I read through the recommendations from the various boards, and no one has expressed any desire for us to exercise the right. So, yeah.
Yeah, same, all I did, again, as you noted, I was not part of this originally, but I reviewed all the documents and all the recommendations, so I'm on board with
Good.
waiving this.
So I would entertain a motion about approving this release of our first refusal for the property on Holman Street and Northfield Road.
So moved?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Happy closing, Mr. Bowen.
Thank you, and it's my understanding the notarized document will be available tomorrow?
Yes, Elaine will be in the office tomorrow.
Great.
So you can contact her in the morning.
Right, yep, I will, thank you.
Thank you, have a very,
Night.
very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Big Thanksgiving.
Okay. Town manager report.
I'll start with an announcement of existing vacancies. There are 2 vacancies on the Architectural Preservation District Commission. There are 2 vacancies on the Economic Development Committee, 1 regular member vacancy and 2 associate vacancies on the Green Communities Committee, and 1 associate vacancy on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and now 2 vacancies on the Stormwater Task Force Committee. Anyone interested in serving on these committees or boards can find the application on our town website and complete them and return them to the Select Board's office. Current employment opportunities with the town. We currently have an assistant accountant position, a part-time benefited position, a digital service staff librarian position, which is a part-time benefited position, assistant to the sewer business manager, which is a part-time position, a principal assessor position, which is a full-time benefited position, and public videographers, which are part-time positions, non-benefited. Any more information on these postings can be found on the town website under employment opportunities. Update on the landscape design project, which I did under announcement as far as the dates for the site visit and the community meeting. All the parties have been notified. And we recently met on November 17th, a working group with Ray Dunitz. This included myself, the assistant town manager, the land use director, the police chief, the fire chief, and the DPW director. We reviewed certain concerns of those, public safety mainly, such as lighting in order to keep sightlines for the police, access in and out of the property for public safety vehicles, as well as traffic concerns coming off of Mass Ave onto School Street, the road itself. From a DPW perspective, limiting maintenance of the property in design, and that there is a private septic system there right now, so public versus private, Ray has worked on projects where he may recommend certain types of already built, constructed public restroom type facilities. So those were some of the things that we covered at that meeting.
Like a prefabricated structure?
Yes, yep. I think he called it a public loo or something. Yeah. Green Communities update, the annual report that is required to be submitted in November to the Department of Energy Resources was submitted last week. This closes out the competitive grant we received in 2020 and allows the town to apply for the next round of competitive grant funds in the spring. I also sent in the final grant report, which is a separate report that gets submitted to the Department of Energy Resources once all the projects are completed, and that triggers the DOER to come out and do an inspection of the projects by the regional coordinator. Also, since a year has lapsed since the town initially approved the funding for the purchase of the streetlights from Unitil, and we had notified them of our intent to purchase with no real headway being undertaken with the calculation that we received from them about the depreciated value. I've asked town council to initiate the mediation process that's outlined by the Department of Public Utilities. So I'll keep the board and the Green Communities Committee updated with any news on that. ARPA funding, although we are still in the information gathering stage, as I call it, and had been waiting to see the state's plan for their ARPA funding as well as the federal infrastructure bill, so we wouldn't duplicate any opportunities. I've been participating in listening sessions that Montechusett Regional Planning Commission has been holding with town officials, and as well as this is an opportunity to share ideas about what different communities are doing with their funding and what best practices are followed as well. So I've reached out to a firm called Capital Strategic Solutions that could assist with federal compliance, because there's all sorts of auditing requirements related to, because federal funding, reporting requirements. They also do public outreach and procurement. And so once I hear back from them, have a comprehensive discussion with them, I'll report back on that. But they're currently working with Townsend, Southborough, Gloucester, Pepperell, Dunstable, Lynn, Acushnet, Groton, Stowe, and Holden. Tax lien sale. The treasurer collector is planning on conducting a tax lien auction on February 16th, 2022 at 10 a.m. in this meeting room. The last tax lien auction sale was held in June of 2018, and the town recouped approximately $285,000 between the tax lien revenue and penalties and interests paid leading up to and from the sale of the tax liens at that tax lien. So
Is that usually advertised? That has to be.
it is advertised. It will be. It's she'll be advertising, I think, in December, and there will be another one. So all the parties are notified. That puts people on notice that their tax liens are going to be up for auction. So you usually see a large part of that
Right.
paid in advance of that auction. Flat Hill Road Culvert Project. The engineering firm for the Flat Hill Road Culvert Project informed the DPW director and I today that Mass DOT is set to reopen applications for the Municipal Small Bridge Grant Program in the first quarter of the calendar year. They're changing the program so that they will be awarding 2 different types of grants, one for design and one for construction. So this is new. The design is grants up to $100,000 and construction up to $500,000. Towns will be able to apply for both a design grant for a certain bridge and a construction grant for another bridge. Can't be simultaneously in the same year. We obviously are ready and going to submit our application as soon as that is available in the first quarter of 2022. I've asked our engineer to provide an updated timeline as well, given these and this is obviously in flux because they say the first quarter. We don't know when in that first quarter it's going to be. School bus driver shortage and RMV training. The school superintendent asked me to announce and try to promote this training that's available. Their bus company has seen bus driver shortages, and I'm sure you're hearing about it everywhere. The Registry of Motor Vehicles is holding a one-day school pupil 7D, which that's the driver certification exam event from 12:30 to 3 p.m. on Saturday, December 4th at 27 Katrina Road in Chelmsford for individuals interested in becoming 7D drivers. Applicants must have completed the school pupil 7D application online form no later than midnight on Wednesday, December 1st. To participate in the one-day event, the individual's application must have been approved, with only the exam being the final step to complete the process. Participants should bring a check for the exam fee in the amount of $15 made out to MassDOT/RMV. At the event, a 2-hour required training will be offered in both English and Spanish. Additionally, RMV staff will be on site to administer and evaluate the school pupil 7D written exam, record the results, and issue a certificate to those who meet all the requirements. To register, interested people should email schoolbus7d notify@dot.state.ma.us and put December 4/30 /7D training in the subject line and provide their name, driver's license number, phone number, training needs, and email address. This has also been posted on our
was gonna say-
town
I was
Facebook
hoping
page.
that. I'm like, they really don't
Yeah.
want many people, if it's just to hear it.
Yes.
They don't want many people applying. If it's school bus 7D notified.
Yeah. It
Just
was
rolls
posted
off the tongue,
today.
doesn't it?
Yeah, just easy. We need school bus drivers. That would be a lot easier.
In updates for grants and earmarks, the town was awarded a recycling dividends program grant in the amount of $6,600. This grant is awarded to municipalities that have implemented certain programs and policies proven to maximize reuse, recycling, and waste reduction. Also, we were notified by Senator Cronin that the town will receive $50,000 through the state's ARPA funding for hazardous materials abatement for the old primary school. I've already reached out to an environmental consultant that is reviewing the hazardous materials survey that we had conducted and to assist with putting together bid specifications to put this project out to bid. COVID-19 update, the weekly update from the Board of Health and the total number of new cases reported as of November 13th was 25. The current positivity rate for Lunenburg as of November 13th was 2.92%.
I think they just announced this past week that people who've had their COVID vaccination for at least 6 months and are over the age of 18 are now eligible for boosters.
That's
Yes.
Yep.
correct. Yes, that is correct.
And if you signed up initially with the state to get the text alerts, you should have got a text alert on your phone.
I didn't get a text
No?
alert, although I had signed up, and I tried to get scheduled for a booster from, I did this yesterday through tomorrow, and I still can't get one.
I got one for the morning of December 4th, right before our meeting over at the old primary school.
So I'm gonna see, I'll
yeah.
try
You'll
to
be
get it
fading
today.
as the meeting goes
Yeah.
I should be fine till the end of the day, I think.
Yeah.
Just bring a sling in case.
In other announcement, meetings, events, and other announcements, the annual tree lighting ceremony will be held on Thursday, December 2nd at 6 p.m. at the town gazebo. And as the Salvation Army, we are doing the giving tree, we call it, with the Christmas angels in Town Hall. So anyone that's interested in getting a Christmas angel that has a child's name on it with the types of gifts that they are that they need. These are families in need, and these donated gifts go back to Salvation Army. They give them out to the families in need on the Christmas Angels. So those donations will be accepted until December 9th, Thursday, December 9th.
And it's my understanding that with these gifts, a lot of these kids, if they don't receive a gift through the Salvation Army, they're not going to have any gifts at all for Christmas, right?
It's my understanding.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
So great program that they do.
It is an excellent program. It's a good opportunity to also thank everybody who gave to the Lunenburg Family Lions Club, who posted that they had an incredible outgiving for their Thanksgiving, upcoming Thanksgiving. So thank you for everybody for being as generous as they are for all these events. Okay, old business, Uma Flowers Host Community Agreement. As I told Mr. Valerio, that we would take this up right after special town meeting. Everybody has been given the draft host community agreement, correct?
Yes,
Everybody has read through it.
yes.
Does anybody have any questions, additions, comments? Well, forget about comments. Any changes, modifications, any errors noted, anything that they got back to the town manager? At all?
I apologize that I did not
Okay.
get back to the town manager, but I did note one shortly before the meeting, so.
Okay.
Under 1G, not fully made with 30 days, within 30 days. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it?
That's all I saw.
Wow, all right. Wow. I did see one other one that's a real, just a grammatical change. Let's see, I should have circled it, of course. meantime, Mr. Dwyer, did you have anything?
I had no comments.
So on 9, beside the fact that that is one long first sentence, on the fourth line of the printout, where it said, well, let's get a running start. So to address mitigation of any legally and scientifically valid actionable concerns or issues, there should not be a comma between valid and actionable. I would think, I mean. But that would be the only thing I found, too. But anyway, content-wise, any issues with the content?
No.
I have none.
No, neither do I. So I think we're ready to get this thing into action. This is already, the copy we were looking at has gone through our town council,
Yes.
correct? So we are all fine with that. So I would entertain a motion regarding the Uma Flowers Host Community Agreement, if somebody would make one.
I move to approve the Uma Flowers Host Community Agreement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? None. So that has passed. You can, they will be happy to hear that. They can now apply to the Cannabis Commission. I think this was what they were waiting for to do that.
Yes,
Okay.
get their provisional license.
Okay. Only remaining thing on the current business is the follow-up to special town meeting, including next steps related to consolidating town offices, school use, and community space. I'll open up the topic. Obviously, the items at the special town meeting of, that invoked the largest discussion, were as expected, the TCP building articles, even though they were passed over, the one before it, the presentations, and the discussion a little bit after that. People want to know what we are planning to do, or what we would like to do. This is the opportunity for us to share that with people or with each other.
Sure. I think the sentiment at town meeting from many of the people who spoke was, obviously the numbers we got back were exorbitantly high. And I think my own feeling is that it's time to regroup, and obviously if, a new building that's, 55,000 square feet is going to be $40 million to the town, that's too much. So we have to, reevaluate what our actual needs are versus where we originally started with the potential rehab of the Passios being a inexpensive way or a frugal way for the town to repurpose a building that they had. Obviously, it's not frugal at this point. So I think the charge of the committee, the TC Passios committee, should be changed to evaluate not how to get 55,000 square feet of meeting space, but what we actually need to consolidate the offices in town that we want consolidated. And beyond that, I don't think they should start looking at buildings that may be vacated that are currently occupied by town offices. But that is going to be consideration that we'll need later on, but I think we take a next step. What does the town need? And that's what I'd like to see the committee focus on, to give us a vision to move forward, whether it's for that property. So if it's a demo and then a small building in its place, or a partial demo of the existing building and rehab of only a portion that fits within the budget of the town.
Yeah, I think that the discussion of Article 6 was very important, and there was a lot of good discussion around the whole issue. Mostly everybody that spoke overwhelmingly was making sense. It's just that this is complex, this is hard stuff. We have to, there's a lot to consider, and there are a lot of valid points and counterpoints, but I do think we need to keep our foot on the gas. And yes, consider the pushback on the ideas, and, you know, does it need to be 50,000 square feet? Can we do something new that's much smaller that serves all our purposes? So factor all the considerations, keep listening to the public, keep our foot on the gas.
I will say that some of this will be repeating what both of my colleagues said. The first thing is, I think that we definitely, it is my intent at least, as chair and as a member of this board, that with the board and with the TCP building committee, that we will have articles to present, again, barring some unforeseen circumstance, in the annual town meeting. And between then and now, I think what needs to be addressed is, number one, what Mr. Dwyer started with, which is, we started with a rehab of a building or remodeling of a building that existed, and that took a certain path, as it should, about what was already there and what was needed external to there, what could be done with the empty spaces or the vacant spaces without having to demolish part of the building. When we asked for the new building to be apples to apples, they rightfully chose the same square footage or thereabouts. But I think given the pricing now, I think we need to go back and say, what do we really need as opposed to what would be nice to have? So in the spirit of what we do at capital planning, when we get lots of projects and we prioritize them, I think we have to do the same here and prioritize those spaces about what does the building have to have, what are the next levels of things as potentially, as money allows, what could we put in there, but not necessarily the whole thing, because the whole thing is obviously more expensive than the rehab was, which is exactly counterintuitive to what everybody thought at the beginning of the process, or certainly the majority of people thought. In order to get there, I think we have to have some public hearing. First of all, we would need a recharge of the TCP building committee to make that one of the criteria, and I think we should have public meetings. They could have meetings of their own, but we should have public meetings that involve lots of input and discussion about how we can meet the needs that are that we have, and do it in an economical and a fiscally prudent way. I think that is the goal. I think that no matter what we do, it's, you know, the needs are not going to go away, and what we need to do, the future of the current TCP building is not going to go away, so we have to do these. To those people who said, if we pass over them, we just kick them down the road, I would say that if we voted on them and voted them down, it equally kicks it down the road, because we still haven't solved anything. So it's not going to be completed until we solve something. And I think that voting them down at this kind of climate, when the costs have risen 30%, it was good to pass over them, because I don't think anybody could make a reasonable decision with those kind of pricings. And we really haven't run the full course for the new building, because it doesn't have to be the same footprint or the same square footage. It is my goal to have articles that give town meeting voters in the spring a choice, but also to note that it is a choice, that certainly while it is feasibly possible or technically possible to vote down all the choices, I want to present a choice that people can get behind and say, yes, we want to choose this and follow that path to completion. And that is what my goal is for the next 6 months on that item. Because, again, all the things that were shown in the reports are all valid, and we just have to prioritize them and put them in 2 articles that people can choose from. And then we have to, for better or worse, those choices have to be marketed so people are aware of them, and that we have plenty of runway before a town meeting to explain it to people, to tell them the benefits or the drawbacks of each of the choices, but basically have a choice that needs to be made at annual town meeting.
We have one public comment on Zoom. Or someone requesting to speak.
Sure, Mr. Beardmore.
Thanks for letting me speak on this. I agree with everything that you just said, Mr. Alonso, and as well as your colleagues, particularly with respect to prioritization. But I think that there's something else that we need to do here that could be initiated by the town manager and or your board, or perhaps by the finance committee in a couple of weeks when we meet, which is figuring out what that top-down, what we can afford number ought to be, considering, where we're at from a debt service perspective, what is realistic from a fiscal policy perspective. At one of the finance committee meetings a couple of weeks ago, Dave Rogers suggested, maybe we should look at that 11% cap on serviceable debt. And I think that that's a conversation that we owe ourselves between the finance committee and the select board. But I think that we really ought to bring in our financial consultants and have a serious discussion about some scenarios within the parameters that we've uncovered over the course of the last couple of months to figure out what we can afford, and from what we can afford back into what is practical and what is feasible, and then what are our priorities within those guardrails. And with all due respect, I'm honestly skeptical that we can bring articles in May that do that thoroughly in a way that properly considers what may need to be done to Ritter or to Town Hall or to a prospective new building if we're within the bounds of practicality. We do have research. We have some potential roadmaps that we can look at from the Vertex and Taipei studies. But not that the numbers associated with any of those projects are all that viable at this point. But I think that it all kind of needs to be on the table if we are going to be brutally practical. And that was the message that I took away from town meeting. I don't think town meeting is going to buy off on any project that has a whiff of impractical or extravagant, or having not looked at the totality of the situation and considered and vetted all of the alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beardmore. I completely concur, and with the need to constantly, not only in this project, but any project, constantly evaluating the financial impacts to the taxpayers and our financial policies. And they're there as guardrails for reasons, and while I realize those policies are self-imposed, they're imposed there for a reason. So if you get the fact that, well, if the policy is too restrictive, we'll just change the policy, then it's almost like not having a policy at that point. So, but anything we choose we have to be able, I don't think we can necessarily choose, and this is just a stylistic approach somewhat. I don't think we can choose a budget and say, okay, what can we build for that budget? I think we have to go with the needs and the prioritization first, because if we can't even get the bottom line needs before we even get to the want-tos, then whatever price we do is not going to be adequate. So we're not going to, I don't think we're going to solve any problem by that. But we can't do it without any financial impact. That's going to be critically important. And I think we want to be cognizant of that all along the way. I don't want to do this serially. It really has to be done all in parallel at every step, that we look at those numbers against the project itself. So is the spring too ambitious? I personally don't think so, but it could be. It depends on it also matters what the economic climate is at the time. It matters what inflation is doing. It matters what happens with the supply chain. There's a lot of things that are unknown at this point. I think we move ahead as if we're going to prepare for May, and if things are equally out of control, then if inflation is even higher and building costs are even higher, then sure, I don't think it's no point in pushing a project that's just going to fail for those reasons. So I think we have to be cognizant and sensitive to all of those facets of the project. Anybody else? So I want to make sure, I'll work with the town manager to make sure that we have these public hearings, and then we should probably start with a change in the charge of the TCB building. So think about what wording you guys would like to appear in there, what we would ask them to do from now until, well, just until it's changed again, but what we want to add to that.
We can add that to the December 14th agenda, or December 7th is the, pretty much, the workshop.
let's do the
So
14th, yeah.
14th.
Yep, December 14th. So if you can have wording to me, and only to me by then I can put the options in and we can discuss that. If you can you send us what the current charge is, so they can?
Yes,
So we
yeah.
can, everybody will start that and
Yep.
just how to modify it. Would you like to comment at all?
Very briefly.
It's unusual that I actually prompt you. Usually,
Well, I was going to hold off for a while on it. Dave Passios, 56 Whiting Street, also a member of the TC Passios Redesign Committee. I just want to repeat what I said at a previous board meeting here in this room, that now we know where we are after special town meeting, and a reminder that we have no professional services available to our committee between now and Springtown meeting, because nothing has been appropriated, and we've expended everything that has been appropriated for that purpose. That's the only thing I'd like to say.
thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to answer Mr. Passio's question. It's 200 or more voters for, to
And after
call us.
after they petition, and after it's certified by the town clerk, how long do we have to have it?
I would have to look that up in Mass General Law. That's not outlined in
Oh,
the
it's not
charter.
in the charter?
No.
Okay, all right.
No. Yeah.
Okay, future meetings. So we have no meeting next week, as it is the last Tuesday of the month. Our next meeting is the site visit on December 4th at the 30 School Street with the landscape architect, Ray Dunitz, and all of the
10.
stakeholders.
Yep, at 10 a.m.
And that is not public meeting, right? I mean,
No, it'd be a posted meeting because we'd be coming back to town hall
Right.
for discussion.
but I mean, we're not going to be, can people come and visit and be part of the site or no? Is
They
the
can
point.
attend like a public meeting, but.
Right,
yeah.
but we're not going to ask anybody questions and not going to be able
Yeah.
to, so it's going to be for the stakeholders only. People can attend, but there are not going to be any questions answered or discussion points. And then our next regular meeting is December 7th, where we will have the follow-up with Mr. Dunitz and the stakeholders again about that project. So we want to get Mr. Dunitz on his way, because that's also in parallel something that we'd like to bring to fruition at the Springtown meeting.
Yep. The end of his contract's March 1st, so, yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot of work to be done in a short
Yeah.
time.
Okay, any public comment from the public? Mr. Passios, you should sit a lot closer to the podium,
But I like it over there.
or you're trying to get steps or something.
Yeah, something like that. Dave Passios, 56 Whiting Street, before you at the moment. Oops, come back up, please. Okay, as a member of the Parks Commission. I'd like to announce to the public at home and this board here that last evening, the Parks Commission voted to hire their professional services for the master plan for Marshall Park. So they are on board now. And public notice that will be in the Ledger, the next issue of the Ledger, I believe, coming out the end of this week. The Lunenburg Parks Commission will be holding a hybrid public forum for redesign of Marshall Park on Thursday, December 2nd, 2021 at 7 p.m. in the Bellata Meeting Room at Town Hall and via Zoom. The Zoom link will be available on the Parks Commission agenda. The public is invited to participate as we discuss the future of Marshall Park. The consultants will review their design approach and present research on Marshall Park parcel. The consultant will gather anecdotal information and feedback from the Parks Commission and community regarding future park use to begin work on their conceptual site design. As part of the RFP, they're tasked to come up with 2 possible designs, and if I am not mistaken, this whole process is to be completed by the end of May.
May 1st.
Oh, beginning of May, excuse me. There's so many meetings and dates bouncing around. So by early spring, we should have a conceptual design.
Can I ask that you send, when that's going to be posted, can you have that emailed to the Board of Selectmen or the Select Board, please, so we don't have to look for the posting?
Posting for the meeting?
Yep.
Sure.
For that hybrid meeting, please.
Yep, I have it right here, and like I said, it's going into the ledger, so I'll send you what's going on.
And did you get the invitation for the December 4th meeting?
Yes, Parks Commission did.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments? Any final public comment from the board?
Yes, please. I just wanted to raise one issue, with all the TCP focus and all of that. One issue that's taken a bit of a back burner is the whole senior tax relief issue, and I just kind of wanted to revisit it a little bit. And I think town council was looking into some possibilities, right, as to what we may do. I just want an update on where we are with that as a group. And
No, I don't think on town council, there was possible pending legislation where we wouldn't have to do a petition to the legislature, but that's not moving forward. I reported about that at one of the meetings.
Okay.
So the next step would be to look at other pieces of legislation to create, for a special act to create such a program.
Okay.
So
I can,
And as a follow-up to that, we didn't approach this with any real vigor in the summer because the finance director was in the middle of please help me with the term, the closing of the year.
oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
But now I'm fearing that if we ask now, it's going to be at the beginning of budget season. So I'm guessing that there's no good time, which means that any time is a good time. So we really have to come up with this. We need to come up with some models about how many people it affects, and this board has to come up with our own workshop to talk about what we look at doing. But I think what we're looking at doing is going to be modeled or at least influenced by what is possible. So we don't want to start talking about things that are wildly not possible by special legislation. So we need to, I guess, have a starting point with the finance director and yourself and us, so we can at least get a jumping off point to get data from. Because I agree with Mr. Franco. I think we made this one of our goals, and we really have not addressed this at all, and for half our fiscal year. So I'd like to work 5 months of our fiscal year.
Maybe if I suggest, between meetings, if Mr. Franco would be willing, if he could meet with the finance director and I to give us, some information, especially your experience in the Board of Assessors.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. I guess, also part of this is, I'm there in spirit. I want to get this moving and see how it's done. But part of this is I'm new here, and tell me what I need to do. Tell me where I'm needed. I'll be there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
I have no public comment other than to say I wish everybody a very happy and safe and healthy Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving holiday. If you're traveling somewhere, please get there safely. Avoid all the usual subjects at Thanksgiving dinner. I apologize to anybody who has to watch the Lions play over at Thanksgiving. Maybe this will be the day they get their first win. And also to remind people that the tree lighting is on next Thursday at 6 p.m. So I mention it now, even after the town manager has done it, because we won't have a meeting next Tuesday. So that'll be a way to go from Thanksgiving and the normal transition to the Christmas season, although if anybody's been to the stores, it's been Christmas season for the last 3 weeks already, unfortunately. But anyway, I do hope everybody enjoys their holiday, and we'll see you in December. All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none. Good night, everyone. Have a great holiday. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other.
Oh, thought you were handing me something. Can I,